from America's heartland, this is GJRB, Clinton, Iowa. The following is a GJRB podcast presentation.
Now a GJRB Schedule update podcast. Now here he is, Gary J.
Hello everyone, hello everywhere across America and around the world from the GJRB Spreaker Studios just above the Lion Shopping District in Clinton, Iowa. I'm Gary J. Russin and welcome to the GJRB Schedule Update Podcast. This is a podcast promoting GJRB programs and new updated GJRB program schedules and adjustments on GJRB's program schedule. Hope you'll stick around this morning. I'm Gary J. Russin. It's 10 o'clock Central Daylight Time. It's 9 o'clock. It is now 11 a.m. Eastern Time, and it is 8 o'clock, 1 minute past that 8 o'clock hour in the Pacific. And I'm Gary J. Russin. Hope you'll stick around for about an hour and a half talking about our GJRB Schedule Update Podcast. And got a lot to cover here, so we'll probably go, I'm saying till about maybe, at best till about 10:30, rather 11:30, and try to cover all the program schedule plans that I have in my book, because I got a lot of them there. So I want to talk about those. A lot of them dealing with the program change that I had devised and the reason behind it. And we're going to talk about that. And I'm going to give you the new schedule plan. And announce about the spontaneous summer. It's going to go into fall. It's going to go into next year. And it may be indefinitely, because a lot of things are changing. Specifically, a lot of things changing in the program schedule, what have you. I can tell you right now that a lot of it is due to a lot of activity outside the station, things that I do with my worker, things that I do at the Church of Christ, various things like that that's going to cause me to do, what I need to do, basically. And right now, the schedule is that I'll be able to do more stuff. It's just that the timing of some of this stuff sometimes will conflict with programming that I'm going to do every once in a while. I might have to call off shows, might have to pull shows and maybe record them only, and make them as podcast in the 24/7 stream. We'll talk about the 24/7 stream. Got plans for starting another one that will take turns with the main one, which is GJRB 24/7. The reason for that is that Zeno says that I cannot run two streams at the same time. So it's one or the other. So yeah, GJRB's 24/7 stream is 24/7, but sometimes we'll have to go off the air for other reasons other than I have another stream going, or I have to shut the station down for maybe maintenance on the computers, cleaning them out, what have you, which really don't have nothing to do with the stream itself, because most of the automation's on the internet. Or if I don't have any programming prepared for the 24/7 stream, which can happen sometimes. If I do not have programming prepared, then we're off the air for a while. there will be no programming. We'll be silent. And every once in a while we'll have to be silent so that I can update programming every once in a while. That means taking a playlist off so that I can update it and change the programming around. And I'll be talking about that throughout the show here this morning. Haven't done a morning show in quite some time. I kind of miss doing the AM show, which is the the late Gary J. the Morning Show here on the Central Time and Eastern Time zones. But entertaining the people and getting the people up in the morning in the Pacific and the people in Alaska or Alaskan Daylight Time. Because they're in the early morning hours over there in like Anchorage and the North Pole, and so I would accommodate those people by doing a morning show for them. That would also mean Hawaii as well, because right now it is, if you're listening to this in archive, we're recording this while we're on the air at 10:06 a.m. Central Daylight Time. Which is what it is right now, 10:06 a.m. Central Daylight Time. So that is equal to 8:06 a.m. Pacific, 9:06 a.m. in the Mountain Time, and of course Daylight Time it's 11:07. But in Alaska Daylight Time right now is at 7:07 a.m. and it's 6:07 a.m. in the Aleutian Islands. So in Hawaii it's 5:07 a.m. So I would be entertaining the people in the Aleutian Islands. I'd be doing a morning show for people in Alaska, the Aleutian Islands, especially in Hawaii, where right now it's 5:07 in the morning. So I would be broadcasting to those people. Okay, it's but in England right now, or UTC, it's 15 hours, 7 minutes, and 49 seconds. That is UTC. That means that that is England, and in England right now it's 3 o'clock in the afternoon. If I wanted to do an afternoon show, I could do an afternoon show, or one of my Gary J in the afternoons for England if I wanted to. So it's kind of weird to do an afternoon show in the morning, or do a morning show in the afternoon, or do a morning show at night. But I'd be doing those for the people in countries where it is morning, which would be kind of something I think about doing later on down the line. It would be kind of fun to do, because then it would be like, wow, because really think about it. Spreaker and all the podcast sites and all the streaming sites and broadcasting on the internet, I'm broadcasting all over the world. And people who listen to my afternoon broadcast in England, it's 10 o'clock at night. So you really think about it, they're going to bed while I'm doing my afternoon program. And I'm thinking, wow, if I'm doing that, I could do like shortwave radio. I had a shortwave receiver, and they would beam programs to different countries at different times. I remember listening to Voice of America, and I'd be listening to what they called their breakfast show, I think at 10 o'clock at night, something like that. And they were doing a morning show for England, I believe, or any one of the countries where it's morning. And I'm thinking about, well, if shortwave did that, I could do that. It's just the internet's worldwide. Why don't I beam some programs to countries where it's morning? Why can't I beam to my show to, let's say, my morning show, and have a late morning show for people on the West Coast? They can listen to the Gary J in the Morning Show. So I'd have a Gary J in the Morning Show for the West Coast, and for Alaska and the Aleutian Islands, and maybe we would get their news and report their news to them, or do stuff like that. Be a service to them, which I think would be a great idea. We'll talk about that as we go along. But right now, let's delve into the GJRB Schedule Update podcast. First of all, the big announcement is that I'm going to be doing the Spontaneous Summer. Now, that's what we're in right now. Spontaneous Summer means that no schedule. No program schedule whatsoever. We don't even have a schedule going. Okay? No schedule whatsoever. It's spur of the moment. That means if I decide that I'm going to do a radio show in the morning, like right now, I decided this, spur of the moment, it had to be done. I planned on it being done because I had a lot to talk about with the schedule. So I had that plan in the works. I was just getting it together to put on the air. But I did this spur of the moment. In other words, I posted that I was going to be doing this last night. I posted all over Facebook. I didn't post on Twitter. I didn't post on the other social sites yet. I still got to get into the habit of doing that. I haven't really done it yet, but I'm working on it. I had to learn how to post on several of the sites at the same time. And that's the idea of having them up while I'm on the air. Now, I have two computers now. I should be able to do this, right? I have two computers. I have the main Inspiron desktop computer, and I have my Acer Aspire 5 laptop. Okay? So I have two computers here. Okay? And I can use the other computer to post my programs. Because I already have it posted from last night. All I gotta do is copy, paste, and put all that information on other social sites. Which I could do. And it's something I need to practice doing while I'm on the air. And that's gonna take a lot of work to plan that. But anyways, you remember straight, spontaneous means spur of the moment. It means that if you see a post 1 hour before airtime, or the day before, I usually do the day before, I'll post, or 1 hour before airtime. So if I decide at 10 o'clock in the morning that I'm going to do a show at 11 o'clock, for example, or if I decide at 2 o'clock in the afternoon I'm going to do a 3 o'clock show, then at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, I will post on all the social sites 1 hour before airtime. And the reason I'm doing that is so that I can gather listeners, so I can get attention from listeners and potential listeners on all the social sites. And that's the reason why I do that. So that I can get people tuning in to my radio program. Because right now, my analytics are low. It's low. I don't get much listeners at all on this station. I was almost going to give it up. I was almost going to say to hell with it. No one likes me on there. No one listens to my show. No one listens to my station. I don't get no one tuning in. So I just say fork it. I don't need this. I don't need this agony all the time. But I think to myself, well, radio stations with the lowest ratings, like AM stations, for example, they don't get much listeners either, but they continue to broadcast. They continue to put on programs, even though they only get maybe 4 or 5 or 6 loyal listeners. They still put on a radio program. They still put on radio broadcast. So why should I stop now? There's no point in trying to fight it. I'm not going to get famous from this. I'm just doing this because I like doing it. Because I like doing radio. So, it gets to a point where I sit there and go, well, maybe it's time to think about doing shows anyway, listeners or not. Because they'll come when they see the postings. And I got to advertise like billboards on the side of a road. I've got a billboard on the side of the road. And that is the information highway. And that's what I have to do. So I thought, well, 1 hour before airtime should gather just enough listeners, especially if I continue to repost and repost and repost. So that's the whole idea behind that. Now, spontaneous programming, once again, means that I will go on the air, whatever, whenever, spur of the moment, possibly to the end of the year. to the end of 2021 into 2022, and possibly till January. So it's going to be spontaneous till January. Now, a possibility that it might take till February, maybe March. No problem. I have no problem with that. If it takes me till January, March, then it does. And the reason for that is so that I can put together programs. So I can produce and write shows like Way Out There, radio, television, and movie classics. Getting all that stuff together and write multiple episodes. And get those shows together. Gather any guests that I possibly might have. So that's something I have to think about in producing programs ahead of time. Having the rundowns ready in an envelope. So all I got to do is just pull it out on my computer, and there it is. And my laptop is where I'm going to put all of my rundowns now. I really don't have a working printer at this point. My printer, for some reason, it's not that it quit, it's just that it ran out of ink again. And those printer inkjets, those printer ink cartridges cost money. Money I really can't afford at this point. It's not in the station budget. So I have to sit there and think, well, here's what I'm going to do as an alternative. And that's going to put all of my rundowns on my laptop. And I can read right off my laptop right here. I just have to move my microphone over a little bit. But I read the weather off my laptop. I read my time off my laptop. So why not? I use my laptop to read from. I read my news off my laptop. So, that's what I'll do. So anyway, it just gives me that time during the summer right now to write new episodes of GJRB shows. Again, watch for postings. I'll have them posted now. Podbean, Castbox, and GJRB 24/7 stream, GJRB Online 24/7 on Zeno.fm. I'm going to be going back on Podbean. As I had talked about on my recent Gary Russin program, or one of my other shows, I talked about this. And it's kind of strange, and I hope that maybe Black Dragons listens, because it's interesting. Podbean informed me that I had well over 100 listeners on that site. 100 listeners. So I'm going, how is that possible when they kicked me off? Well, of course, I have some podcasts still left on there, but they didn't really technically kick me off. All they did was tell me I was suspended for something that I broadcast. And I, like I said before, whatever case, act of Congress, whatever that is, I thought that was a lot of bull malarkey. And I went back, and I'm going to experiment to make sure, and I think I can get back on Podbean. So I'll be back on GJRB2, GJRB3 on Podbean, and GJRB4 and GJRB5 on Castbox. So I will probably post this on Castbox as well, on GJRB4 and 5 and Way Out There and Radio, Television, and Movie Classics. So I'll post on all those so that everybody gets it everywhere. I'll also repost it as a podcast on my Zeno stream, because there's a podcast thing on Zeno that I can put up. I've never tried it, but I'm going to try it because Zach Burke has been putting his up on his side on his Zeno stream side there, podcast of his past shows, which would be a good idea because then I would get some listeners from that who are listening to other podcasts and think, well, this is a pretty good station. I think I'll listen to this more often, right? So, that's what it takes. So anyway, if I'm on Podbean, GJRB2, I will post a widget. I'll post information that we're going to be on the air the same way I do here on Spreaker. I'll post an hour before airtime from Podbean, from GJRB2, GJRB3, GJRB4, and GJRB5 Castbox. Radio, Television, Movie Classics, Way Out There, Castbox. I'll post an hour before airtime if I'm doing those shows or being on those on that platform doing a show. So, just to let you know about that. And, of course, programming on GJRB 24/7 on Zeno.fm. Going to talk about that because I've been having fun with Zeno. But, like I said before, I like a lot of things that Zeno is doing. The fact that I could be having a station on there for 24 hours is great. I love my schedule. I love what I do on there. Problem I have with it is that there's a constant reverb on that side. And that is why listeners here, there probably wasn't, listen to the podcast on here of that last Saturday show when I did my Best of Jazz. I had to cut off the Spreaker because it was not working. I cannot simulcast on Spreaker from Zeno.fm live broadcast because there's a 10-second delay, even more delay on the Zeno stream, and it sounds stupid coming over Spreaker simulcast. I will record those programs on Spreaker and then edit the show so that there's no repeat. I'll delete all the repeats so that you only hear the intro once. I'll do that and then put it up. But I am not going to simulcast on Spreaker from Zeno.fm anymore. Maybe the other way around, if I can get my microphone to turn off. I need to get a stereo mix on my laptop. I need to find one or be able to put one on there so that I can shut my microphone off. Because all I'm getting is echo reverb and repeat. You can hear me in the background during songs too. So that's one of the reasons why I decided to separate my programming on different platforms. Because I was getting that echo and I didn't like it. It was crazy. So I'll work on that one because it just takes a little time to get that together. And a lot of it has to do with the schedule at hand. It has to do with trying to get the Zeno programming going and having all the shows up. And I got an idea from a posting on my Facebook page from another TV Classics channel site that I'm following on Facebook. It's a classic TV channel, and they have some rare shows on their playlist. Of course, they put the times that their programs are going to air. I don't. If you don't see the time next to the program, and I'll talk about that coming up next, you will see only the list of the programs airing. And then it'll say this programs will repeat in a 24-hour period. That means that when you see that list with no times next to them, the air times, that means that on Zeno, they told me that you really can't schedule programs on there on a specific time. But I'm doing it anyway. And the reason why I'm doing it anyway is because I have 2, maybe 3 devices tuned in to my Zeno stream at the same time, like it has listeners. So you might see 2, maybe 3 listeners on my dashboard. That's me, because I have 2 or 3 devices tuned in, so it doesn't stop. One of them is my phone, the other one's my laptop, and an old tablet which I keep plugged in. Those will not, that tablet stays, this old red tablet can still stay on if it's plugged in the wall. It's AC only. So, as long as it's plugged in the wall, it won't go out. And I can continue to use that to broadcast with. So in other words, I'll have multiple devices tuned in and I can schedule my programs. And of course, it keeps playing and playing and playing and playing on my big computer, on my Inspiron. It'll keep playing. Okay, it'll keep playing as long as I clean my computer before I go on the air. And that's what I'm going to talk about coming up next is the Zeno stream. We're going to get into that. And talk about the Zeno stream, talk about how we're going to do the schedule, how we're experimenting with the schedule that I made a while back, and talk about that schedule on a video version of this coming up on GJRBTV's YouTube channel. But meanwhile, I'm going to get to that point. We're going to talk about another channel I'm thinking about starting on Zeno. I have another account on Zeno through my Yahoo email. And I'm thinking about using that and calling it WGJR Worldwide. It'll be a separate station, but it'll be a Christian rock station. It'll be Christian album-oriented rock. It's a format I created. And I'll talk about that coming up next. Also going to talk about coming up next. Let's see what else I'm going to talk about coming up next. Oh, well, let me see here. Okay. All right. I hear the music here. Let me see. Okay. Why I'm not hearing the music here? It should be. Okay, my earphones aren't working, so I'm just going to, I'm by myself anyway here at the studio, so I'm just going to leave it at that. And I'm just going to use my speakers and just, be without earphones, because there's no point in having them on if I don't need them. Meanwhile, let's talk about that. Coming up next, we're going to talk about about Zeno and that schedule. Also talk about the schedule changes and how I'm going to separate programming. So that's coming up next. We're talking about the new programming and talk about the off schedule, on schedule on the Zeno stream. So stay tuned. We'll be right back after we take this short break. This is the I'm Gary J. Rustin. This is the GJRB Schedule Update Podcast, and we'll be right back. There's a movement going on of people migrating off Facebook because of shadow banning and being put in Facebook jail for something they posted. This is called censorship and shouldn't be allowed in a free country of America. We shouldn't have to tolerate it. The new place for free speech is MeWe. There you can say anything without being censored. Join the site where you are free to speak. That is MeWe. M-E-W-E. MeWe, the internet's free speech social site. Remember when FM stations played the kind of music that was instrumental, soft, easy? It's back. Easy Nights, with artists like 101 Strings, Montalbani, Ray Conniff Singers, to Frank Sinatra, Harry Conniff Jr., and more. This is the beautiful sound that you heard on the FM radio 24/7. Wind down after a hard day's work and listen to music that used to occupy a number of spots in the early FM dial. In restaurants, in doctor's offices. Yes, it's music, but it's good. Easy Nights, Sunday with a worship version. Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday nights at 11 p.m. Central. Wednesday nights at midnight Central on GJRB. Imagine one day tuning around on your internet radio only to find a station playing old radio programs complete with commercials and thinking, what am I tuning into? The past? You might be, or it's just GJRB Online and Radio Land. A day of nothing but classic radio shows back to back with classic commercials in between, like the days of radio. almost like your computer is picking up signals through time. Closer than you'll ever get to time travel. Radioland. Coast to coast and way out there, fans, listen up! If you like UFO conspiracies, ghosts, and the paranormal, you'll love Spaced Out Radio, Spreaker's answer to Coast AM, with more interesting guest experts in the paranormal and UFOs each month. If you like Way Out There, you'll love Spaced Out Radio. Own the night with Spaced Out Radio with Dave Scott, nightly at 11 p.m. Central, 12 o'clock midnight Eastern, and 9 p.m. Pacific, on Spreaker, on the SOR YouTube channel. End times are upon us, and we need to know what's happening. Knowing the truth is key to survival. There are lots of news events going on in the world that have certain significance to end time happenings. Listen, as men and women gather to discuss the news and how it lines up with Bible prophecy on the last 7 days. Here, the last 7 days run live Thursday evenings at 5 p.m. Central, 6 p.m. Eastern, and 3 p.m. Pacific, and every third Friday at 1 p.m. Central, just ahead of Way Out There on GJRB 24/7, or on demand on the GJRB Spreaker public site at www.spreaker.com/user/5120525. Or on the Listen Live page on the GJRB website, GaryJ655.wixsite.com/website. And we're back to the GJRB Schedule Update Podcast. And my Spreaker studio just informed me that I have to restart it. I'm not going to do that after I get off the air. I'm not doing it right now, okay? Because I really don't have to do it right now. I'm on the air, and I'm just going to do it later. But anyway, we're back on the air, and we're talking about our programming. And I said, I still get excited about being on the air, even if I don't get listeners. Even if I don't get listeners to this podcast live, I still get excited about being on the air, which means I still love doing this work, okay? And I still like putting on programs, even though I'm talking to a silent audience, or maybe someone who's in the background somewhere. Maybe not in the chat room necessarily, but just, talking about programming in itself. But if you have questions, please, if you're in the chat room, you're listening, just post it, and I'll try to answer it as much as I possibly can. Meanwhile, though, let's get back into what we were talking about. I've got some programs coming up, and we'll talk about this coming up, what we got coming up on the air here in just a little bit. But before I do that, I want to talk about we're talking about the Zeno stream. That's GJRB 24/7 on Zeno.fm. A great platform. That's a platform just like here. Only difference is I can broadcast 24 hours a day. I can have it running automation 24 hours a day. And I can have the station constantly going. And it's on my website, GaryJ655.wixsite.com/website. When you go over there, go to the Listen Live page. And I was going to post this on my website, but I thought I'll just post it later so you can listen to it later. So I'll just post a widget. You can also hear this on Twitter. I am the Radio Maniac. Just go to the Twitter page. You'll see the Antique Radio emblem. Says GJRB Online next to it. And you'll see the widget. Just click that arrow, and it'll open up into a widget, and you can listen right there on Twitter. So it'll take you can click the comic book icon, and it'll take you right into my chat room here. It'll take you right to my page, so you can listen to it right there, or right here on Spreaker. It'll take you right to my Spreaker site, so you can listen to the broadcast of our program schedule. But anyway, Zeno.fm is fabulous, and I have another account under my Yahoo email. Right now, the main one I'm using right now is the one that is GJRB Online 24/7 or GJRB 24/7. That is run off my Gmail account. So if I go to my Yahoo account, there's nothing broadcasting there. But I'm planning on putting a broadcast on over there. It's going to be a separate station. called WGJR Worldwide. Now, WGJR was the first radio station I ever did when I was a kid back in Pennsylvania, in Ambridge. Wanted to do radio ever since I was a kid, 8, 9 years old. And WGJR was the call letters I used for my initials, Gary John Russell. GJR, put a W in front of it, and I had a radio station, okay? WGJR was my radio station back home, Ambridge, Pennsylvania. I started talking into a screwdriver, and that's pretty much how I got started, with a record player. And then I went on and started, I got for Christmas in 1973 an FM transmitter that my mother got me from Radio Shack. And I began broadcasting, and I had to play music. What was funny about that was I had to play music over the air over this by putting the microphone next to the speaker on my record player. I did not have no other way of doing it. Well, second came along, and I started doing something different. When I got my first stereo, what I did was, when I got the stereo, I got the transmitter. I found a way to open up one of my speakers, my stereo, and I put the transmitter in it and just didn't screw it back together. I just kept the speaker open and put the transmitter in there. And I had that one Christmas they got me a console, a mixer, a small one, a Radio Shack, and then I moved my studio to the basement at that time. And it was pretty cool, actually. And I was actually putting on programs downstairs in my basement studio, because my sister had just moved out. She was living down there at the time, but she had moved out, and she went to college. She had got her apartment, so I had that whole basement to myself then. I claimed the basement. They let me have it for the radio station, and I began broadcasting. So I was using the basement for my radio station because I was always playing in the basement as a kid anyway. Pretty much. And so I decided, use it as a radio station. Why not? This is where I played as a kid. Why don't I turn this into a radio station? So I had my radio station in the basement. Had my transmitter. Had everything plugged in. And I had my transmitter next to the speaker. I usually tried to open up one of my old stereo speakers. I had stereo down there. There were 2 automatic turntables, and I had everything wired into a board. My sister Colleen got a new stereo. She gave me her old one. I had that plugged into I had the output plugged into my mixer. I had one turntable and another turntable plugged into a mixer. I had a real cool double-deck dubber cassette system. And with a microphone antenna that wouldn't stay up anyway off one of my radios, and I rubber band the microphone onto the end of the antenna as a boomer microphone. And then I had that. It was pretty cool. I had a pretty elaborate setup down there, and I had cassettes, bought timers, and started making automation. It was pretty cool. I had a grand old time in those days. I was carrying the Pirate baseball games on my station. Yeah, I was running a real operation. That's what I felt like I was doing down there. It was really cool. It's way before internet. So it was a way to, it was WGJR. So I said, let's carry WGJR and its memory to the internet and broadcast worldwide. And so we changed it to WGJR Worldwide. And that will be the second station on Zeno, which will be taking turns with GJRB 24/7. And I will be giving you that, and as I make schedules for that, and as I make programming for those stations, I will be making more of these GJRB Schedule Update podcasts and video on my GJRB. I'll be talking about the video coming up. So this podcast could last an hour and a half to maybe even 2 hours, talking about my schedule. So I was going to originally make this an hour and a half, but I think we'll go 2. Let's go to noon. Let's see what we can do with this, okay? Meanwhile, let's talk about the schedule at hand here. Okay, now, I have a thing that on Zeno, like I said earlier, they told me that you can't schedule programs on Zeno because it is an online auto DJ. That you can't put your programs on a schedule. Well, I think I proved them wrong because what I did was I went into the settings and increased my bit rate, and I brought everything up a little bit. And it works because I've been broadcasting nonstop. When I get on Zeno and I start broadcasting with all my devices opened, and even broadcasting and having the program running and playing over my Inspiron desktop computer, the main desktop, it runs nonstop. It ran all night last week when I ran my Jazz Weekend. When I had my Jazz Weekend on last week, it ran all night. And everything ran on schedule. It was absolutely fabulous. I had the night, and not only that, I had the transmitter of my FM signal tuned into it. So I had it on 106.7 megs on local 9-foot signal, plugged into the computer, broadcasting my stream from my 24/7 over the FM, and it kept that signal going. I had the volume down on my old phone. Well, my old phone, I'll try to see if I can get that started again. Because I really think that old phone can still work. I just need to play with it. I had another old phone of my wife's, which was a Samsung. That thing died. It won't even start charging. So I don't think I can get that going, but I still have a red tablet. I have my laptop, and I have my new cell phone, which is fabulous. It's a Motorola. And I think that pretty much if I get those three going, because I have the Motorola running with the stream with the volume down to 1 or 2, so that I can hear it. And, of course, it's on the FM transmitter from here. So I know that it's always going. So it runs nonstop. So, yeah, I can schedule programs. And I'm going to have what I call on schedule, off schedule. Okay, now, I had that written here somewhere in one of my other notebooks, but I lost it. Apparently, I don't know what page it's on, so I rewrote it. And it goes like this. Okay? It goes like this. Well, I gotta find it here. Yeah, let's see if we can find it. It goes like this. Here we go. Okay, here's how it goes. Full schedule programming, on air live, Spreaker, GJRB, 24/7 stream, here we go, for replay, all these stuff, WGJR Worldwide, okay. Here we go with on schedule, off schedule programming. On schedule programming on GJRB 24/7 stream on Zeno.fm and even WGJR Worldwide, okay. Both of them. On schedule means that GJRB 24/7 or WGJR Worldwide is on the air. And we're running programming. And we're running programming on a schedule. Okay? Now, that means that all the programs will run on the schedules that I post, and you'll see on the on my website, on my blog, or you'll see it on my schedule that I'm doing a video of, and I'll try to put that on the blog, the schedule graph. That is the permanent radio schedule of GJRB Online 24/7 stream, which will start in 2022. Okay? On schedule programming means that we'll be periodically broadcasting on a schedule. We'll have all our programs running on a schedule. Will be on the air, and all devices will be running the programming. All devices will be tuned in. My laptop, my phone, the computer, the old tablet, whatever. And that means it will continuously broadcast all programs on schedule. Now, like I said before, sometimes GJRB 24/7 and WGJR Worldwide will not always be on the air. That will be because we have to be off the air for maintenance on the computer, making sure that all computers are cleaned out, do a virus check, because sometimes I do get some suspicious viruses on here, and I'm concerned about ransomware and stuff like that. It could shut me down, so I have to be careful. So I always constantly watch this thing like a hawk and making sure that the computers are always clean. Cleaning out cookies, caches, what have you. Making sure that all the computers are clean. My laptop and this one and my phone. Making sure that the CPUs are cleaned out and cooled down. Because I think the CPUs, if they're real hot, don't work right. Something like that. I don't know. So those computers could probably explain that to me. But anyway, I make sure of that. So sometimes we're going to be shut down. Sometimes most stations will be silent because I have to do some maintenance. Other reason why it's silent is because I have to refresh programming. And sometimes I have to take programming off to make a new list. So sometimes I'll have the programming off for a day or two, and we'll be off the air. No programming. Okay? But anyway, all programming, running shows on schedule, by the clock, all devices are tuned in, as I said before. All devices are tuned in. So that means that all devices tuned in. Laptop, phone, old computer, what have you. Off schedule. Now, off schedule programming is a lot different. Now, I'm experimenting with that right now. Off schedule just means that the programming is listed on the auto DJ. Okay, the programming is on the auto DJ, and the auto DJ is rolling, but you'll hear the programming if you press the play button on the GJRB 24/7 widget on my website. Okay, or if I post a widget anywhere else where you can get to it on any one of the social sites. That widget, when you play the button, when you hit that play button, it activates the auto DJ to play. If no one's listening to the 24/7 stream, GJRB 24/7 stream, the auto DJ stops. If there's no one listening to it, it doesn't play. So if you just press the button, I'll have the example here is what I'm going to do after I get off the air today. I'm going to take this program, okay, the church services from last Sunday, the last 7 days from yesterday, GJRB music, the radio shows I was going to play Sunday, which I'll replay. That is the Ranger Bill, Unshackled, what's the other one? Unshackled, then I go to You Bet Your Life with Groucho Marx' old radio program, and all that's on the playlist, and I put those on, they'll play, and then I follow that up by a Mike Myers Radio Hope episode. Okay. Gospel Truth with Miles McKee. And I put that on as a playlist. No, in order, the way I have it up on my blog. Just check the blog. You'll see the whole list. That includes Christian rock hits. And what will be is, during a 24-hour period from today and tomorrow at this time, that will run if anybody presses the play button. That activates that playlist, and you can listen to what was on the air over the past 24 hours on GJRB 24/7 stream. And what I'll do is I will change the playlist every 24 hours or so and put some different programs on or some different music based roughly on the program schedule. And everything that I broadcast on GJRB Online on Spreaker will get put up there and repeated. For example, in the 24-hour period up till tomorrow afternoon at 3 o'clock Central, I plan on another show. And Lori might be joining me. And it's going to be a brand new summer show. I'm just going to promote this right now. Because the 24-hour period, from 24 hours all the way down to a day, 24 hours, to an hour before airtime, spontaneous summer, I can announce what I'm going to have coming up. Tomorrow, I'm thinking about starting a new series called the Gary Russell Program Summer Extra. It will be a summer version of my Saturday Extra show, in which I just do a short series. It's going to be like I do with the Christmas stuff, with the American Christmas Jukebox. It'll be just like that. Episode 001, 2, 3, 4, 5, etc., etc. All the way up until maybe August or September, when I'll have the last episode. And then that'll end that season. It's kind of like in the summer back in the 60s and 70s when TV used to have a replacement series in the summer. It's kind of like that. This is a replacement show. And I'm thinking about bringing back the Saturday Extra in the fall. At the point, the Gary Russell program is going to come back too, with a new season. So, a lot of things are going to change there. But all these programs will be on the 24/7 stream. And when you hit that play button, you can hear these programs. But if you really, really want to listen to these programs, I will post the on-demand podcast on all my social sites, including my website, and on the Zeno podcast, because you can put podcasts on Zeno too. So I'll have those all up there so that you can listen to those when you want to. And you don't have to wait for it to play on the Zeno stream when you hit that play button. But if you want to listen to the Zeno continuous broadcast stream, I would love it. I'd love to see some numbers on that Zeno dashboard, because I'm not seeing it. Okay? I'm the only one who really listens to my Zeno stream. My dashboard only shows maybe 1, 2, maybe 3. Although the other night, when I had my jazz on, in the evening, the wave of smooth jazz, one night there was like 5 listeners on my Zeno stream, and I know for a fact that I don't have 5 devices to play continuously to make it look like I have a lot of listeners. I only have 2 or 3 devices that are running the stream, so to keep it on schedule. But there was 5 listeners on Friday night during the wave of smooth jazz. And during my easy nights, it was kind of neat to see that. And I wonder, I don't know what countries were listening, but it was fabulous. I was really happy to see that there was actually people listening to the 24/7 stream. It was actually really cool. But when I start the 24/7 stream with WGJR Worldwide, that would be fabulous, and I'll talk about that, more about that coming up. But off schedule just means that all programs, all devices will be tuned out, or I might listen to it myself. The auto DJ only runs when someone is listening to the programming. So that's, pretty much how that goes. Just that simple. And, like I said before, it's just a matter of seeing how many people are actually listening to our station. And I want to be able to look at the analytics and say, wow, my numbers are up. Like on Podbean. I was surprised to see that my numbers were up, and I was suspended. it didn't make sense to me. I'm going, wait a minute, how is that possible? I mean, I wasn't even. It was just oddball. So I don't know. It's crazy. I just don't understand that. But anyhow, it was great that we had some listeners on that side. It really was. I kind of liked that idea. And not only that, it gave me a chance to have people listening to the show, listening to our station, listening to GJRB 24/7 stream. It was really nice to. I hope a lot of people enjoy the jazz. And we do jazz once a month. The first of the month. Every first of the month is Jazz Weekend. And then every Thursday, and I talk about the schedule later, every Thursday at 3 o'clock, from 3 o'clock until 11 o'clock at night, from 3 to 11, which is an old shift at work, right? 3 to 11. Anybody work 3 to 11? Anyway, 3 to 11, 8 hours is devoted to jazz every Thursday. Right here on GJRB 24/7 stream. So just to let you know about that. You can listen to great smooth jazz every Thursday from 3 p.m. to 11 p.m. right on GJRB 24/7. And I got some great smooth jazz. I got some new music coming up for that too. I know I repeat some of the same selections, but I try to change as much as possible and put new songs on. But I like to play the most popular, more really neat recordings that are in my top 20 songs, which I have top 20 currents always on all my playlists. And I'm working on getting that where I have a chart system for all my jazz. Chart system for my main format, which is my main format, which is up and coming, or the MOR, and my Christian rock, which is all new emerging artists. A lot of it, except for what I play, is popular, and I try to keep it at a minimum. Okay. Let's see if there's anybody listening out there right now. I'm not seeing any numbers, so we'll keep going. Coming up next. Stay tuned because we got some really good stuff here. I've got programming changes and how I'm going to separate my programming between platforms. Some of the shows that are on GJRB, that are talk shows, are going to move over to Castbox and Podbean. And I'll tell you why coming up. Also coming up, we'll talk more about my 24/7 streams. And we'll talk about the schedule and how we're going to do things. And where all these programs are going to go. And I'm also going to talk about my webpage and how my programs are going to be cycled. Especially my music shows. And talk about OBS Studios and GJRBTV on YouTube. And what I got planned in videos, all coming up next on the GJRB Schedule Update Podcast. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. New World Order, terrorism, economic collapse, wars, pandemics, Israel. When they say peace, then cometh sudden destruction. Volcanic eruptions, earthquakes, signs in the heavens. Keep up with world news and events you hear on GJRB's News on the Hour. Go to End Time Headlines at www.endtimeheadlines.org. With a lot of chaos happening, keep in touch with End Time Headlines and GJRB. Watch, pray, for we not know what hour the Son of God will return. Prophecy, New World Order, terrorism, economic collapse, wars, pandemics, Israel. When they say peace, then cometh sudden destruction. Volcanic eruptions, earthquakes, signs in the heavens. Keep up with world news and events you hear on GJRB's News on the Hour. Go to End Time Headlines at www.endtimeheadlines.org. With a lot of chaos happening, keep in touch with End Time Headlines and GJRB. GJRB now has a website, and you can visit it on Wix. This is a fabulous site, including photos of GJRB live events and live streaming of GJRB shows. The site changes every week, and I always try to put on new stuff. Check out any new photos on the new link on the upper right-hand side of the webpage and see a great dedication to radio's 100th birthday, including interesting history of America's first radio station, KDKA in Pittsburgh. Watch for postings of coming broadcasts on GJRB on Spreaker, Podbean, and a possible 24/7 stream on Zeno.fm. Check out the GJRB websites on website.com, GaryRustin.website2.me, and now on Wix for live streaming at GaryJ655.wixsite.com/website. See the new neat stuff on all GJRB websites. There's a movement going on of people migrating off Facebook because of shadow banning and being put in Facebook jail for something they posted. This is called censorship and shouldn't be allowed in a free country of America. We shouldn't have to tolerate it. The new place for free speech is MeWe. There you can say anything without being censored. Join the site where you are free to speak. That is MeWe, M-E-W-E. MeWe, the internet's free speech social site. America's street music is back on GJRB Bluegrass with the Grassgolds, Bill Monroe and his Bluegrass Boys, and so much more. So it's time to bring it back, and on more often. It's Bluegrass Jubilee Freestyle, with all the great songs you heard before, and some new up-and-coming stars with some emerging bluegrass. Also, some all-time gospel favorites, too. Tune in every Wednesday at 12 o'clock noon Central, 1 p.m. Eastern, and 10 a.m. Pacific on the GJRB Online Network. Yes, pump it up, because Up and Coming is back on GJRB. New emerging artists in all genre, from rock to easy listening to cover songs. If you or your group would like to have your song on Up and Coming, send me an MP3 and an email to GaryJ65@yahoo.com or GaryJ021361@gmail.com. If your song is on any one of the emerging sites like SoundCloud, SoundClick, Reverb Nation, iTunes, or Spotify, let me know where it is, and I'll find it. I review songs every week, and if I like your song, it plays on GJRB and is added to the GJRB music rotation. So get your song on. Up and Coming, new emerging artist shows. Up and Coming returns in July with all new songs. Coming soon, all songs will be charted weekly with the Up and Coming Top 20. Tune in every Friday, 12 o'clock noon Central, 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific on GJRB 24/7. Remember when FM stations played the kind of music that was instrumental, soft, Easy. It's back. Easy Nights with artists like 101 Strings, Montalbani, Raycon of Singers, to Frank Sinatra, Harry Connick Jr. and more. This is the beautiful sound that you heard on the FM radio 24/7. Wind down after a hard day's work and listen to music that used to occupy a number of spots on the early FM dial. In restaurants, in doctor's offices. Yes, it's music, but it's good. Easy Nights, Sunday with a worship version. Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday nights at 11 p.m. Central. Wednesday nights at midnight Central on GJRB. And we're back doing the GJRB Schedule Update Podcast. I'm Gary J. Russin in the GJRB Spreaker Studios just above the Lions Shopping District on Clayton's North End. 6 minutes after 11 o'clock Central Daylight Time, after 12 o'clock noon Eastern, and after 9 a.m. Pacific. And I'm Gary J. Russell with you on the GJRB networks. And we're doing the GJRB Schedule Update Podcast, talking about programming on GJRB Online, and just playing that Easy Nights promo. I've got some episodes coming up on that, and it's a great show. I love playing that beautiful music because it does remind me of the days when FM we used to play that music. It was great music just to relax. It does help you to meditate. It helps you to think. It's a soft music. It's just like background music. It's just like really nice music. It's better than white noise. You know, it's soft music. It's great sound, and I like to listen to it. It's just, you know, it's very like any other music, like rap, top 40, if you want to call it that, sounds the same, but this is softer modes of music, and I like to listen to it, and I enjoy every minute of it. So, I've got a couple of Easy Nights coming up. Speaking of which, some of the programs coming up, they're going to be spontaneous that you'll be watching out for right now. It's going to be Easy Nights. I've got a couple of planned evening programming, some easy, beautiful music. I'll have some daytime ones as well, as we're going to mix the schedule around a little bit. Also coming up, I have next week, way out there, I have a new episode already done. Got some good stuff on that show. We'll talk about that coming up later. And I'll also have radio and television movie classics coming up. So tune in for that, as well as tomorrow we'll be back on the air with a new Gary Rustin program, Summer Extra. So I'll post that after I get off the air today. And this is fabulous because it does take the pressure off. I was a lot of pressure trying to get these shows put together, have them on the air in time. So this is like, no, let's just do this spontaneous because my schedule's not working. So I like this, and I'm going to keep it going pretty much through to the beginning of next year. But getting back to what I said before, let's talk about the programming changes. I'm going to be separating certain programs, which are going to go on different platforms, Podbean, Castbox, and the 24/7 stream, and WGJR Worldwide. The reason for this is because, like I said earlier, I want to try different programming like shortwave radio does. They use different frequencies. I'm using different platforms. Okay? GJRB Online Networks, plural, means that I have 6 networks. 6 streams that I can broadcast on. 6. Not counting the Zeno stream. Maybe 5 at most. Plus my FM signal, which I, play around with off air. Just to practice that spontaneous thing, spur of the moment, go on the air kind of thing. But, it's like that. Now, these programs are going to be centralized for different stations, different formats, what have you. And that would include my talk shows. My talk shows, the Gary Wrestling Program, the Gary Wrestling Program Saturday Extra, my midweek edition, the Gary Wrestling Program Extra, and the Gary Wrestling Program Evening Edition don't get very much audience. I'm lucky I get anybody in my chat room on those programs. So I've decided that I'm going to break all these programs away from Spreaker. I'll still have them on Spreaker from time to time if I get audience there and spontaneously. Otherwise, they're going to go scheduled on different streams. And a lot of the talk shows like the Gary Wrestling Program, the midweek edition that's on Wednesdays, in alternation with the Gary J in the Afternoon Music Show. Those will, pretty much going to be on the other streams, Castbox and Podbean. And because those places, those sites, I get interaction. I get people in the chat room. Sometimes they call me. Now, I get some people with disrespect, and I'll talk about that later. I don't tolerate that. But in the long run, I take disrespect over nothing. If they want to treat me like that, that's fine. I can go back and turn it around on them. It's just like pointing a finger. 3 come back at you. Point a finger at me and talk about me. 3 come back at you. It's that simple. Anyhow, here we go. Now, all those programs that will be on Podbean and on Castbox will be shows like the Gary Wrestling Program. The Saturday Extra, when it returns in the fall, is going to go over to Podbean, GJRB 2 or 3. It'll be rotated. And on the Zeno stream, GJRB 24/7 stream. And sometimes it will be simulcast on WGJR Worldwide to get more listeners. Okay, because I can do that. All I have to do is make that a relay. Okay, and I can broadcast over on both places live, and maybe we could collect more audience that way. So shows like that, the Gary Wrestling Program Saturday Extra, the Gary Wrestling Programs, way out there that talk about the UFOs and the aliens and Bigfoot and Dogman and all that stuff, will all be on Castbox or Podbean, but mostly on Castbox. Here's how it's going to go. The Gary Wrestling Program, Wednesday midweek edition, will be on GJRB's 2, 3, 4, or 5. That'll be 2 and 3 on Podbean, or 4 and 5 on Castbox. Okay? There's either one of those. And they'll get rotated. Okay, they'll get rotated so that you can listen to them. I'll let you know what particular one it's going to be on. The Gary Wrestling Program and Way Out There will be rotated between GJRB 4 and 5 on Castbox. Now, Castbox, I have a special channel dedicated to Way Out There, and that's where a lot of the Way Out There programs are going to be over there. Just look for Way Out There on Castbox, CASTBOX.FM, I think. Castbox is a pretty good site. They got some good people on there. And a lot of them do like my Way Out There show. And they like to hear talking about stuff like UFOs and the paranormal and stuff. They enjoy that. They enjoy that immensely. So I get a lot of listeners over there. That's GJRB 24/7 Castbox. Now, GJRB 24/7 stream, I'll put way out there over there as well, too, because it's scheduled on the regular schedule list. I'll have way out there live on there from time to time as well. Now, the thing about GJRB 24/7 stream, there is no chat box on there. There's no way of really communicating with me on there, other than I'll have my Skype open. I'll talk about that coming up. My Skype, I could probably have people calling me there, and it does have a chat box, but I have to make it as a widget on my website, GaryJ655.wixsite.com, and I could do that, which would make it so that maybe we could get some interaction over there. But for the interaction, it'll probably be more or less when it comes to way out there. The way out there on Castbox, simulcast with Zeno, which what we could do, because I'll have that as the main on these. I'll have the Castbox way out there as the main broadcast source, and it'll be simulcast on the 24/7 stream, GJRB 24/7, as a live show. You'll have to deal with background music, background noise, but again, I'll try the best I can. And I think I might have that licked. It's just a matter of my laptop is the source, and I use this thing called Team. And what it is a team, what's that called now? Let me see if I can pull that up on my laptop here real quick. Okay. It's what it does is it allows me to connect computers. I can have, I did not ask for that. Did not ask for that. It's called, Team Viewer. Now, what Team Viewer is that it allows me to link my laptop with this computer that I'm talking on right now, the Inspiron desktop. It allows me to link the two computers together, and I can use this computer way up to the other church studios. Wherever I'm at, I can, as long as I have internet, I can link this computer with this computer and work on this computer from wherever I'm at in town. Probably could do it from Pittsburgh. I mean, really, it's pretty cool. I love it. It's called Team Viewer, and it allows me to tap into this computer from wherever I'm at. And I can have programs broadcasting here on GJRB Online, here on Spreaker, from anywhere. All I got to do is start this Spreaker console from the other studio, and I can have programming running. And I can, as long as my laptop is on battery, I can operate it from a car. I can be in a car and do it. As long as I have internet. As long as I have internet, if there's a way I can tap into anywhere in the internet, where I'm in a parking lot, for example, of a place that has internet. Okay? Free internet. Public place. I could get on their Wi-Fi and work. And have programming started. And in other words, I'll have programming. You know, my GJRB Live here on Spreaker, I'm still going to have that on there. GJRB Live is all various programs that GJRB has on. I run that programming. I'll be talking about that. I run the programming on there, repeated on Zeno. Like that. It'll be part of my schedule. But anyway, getting back to it without, focus. Focus, like Mike always says he has to focus. Sometimes I got to focus. I sometimes don't focus. So, anyhow, quoting Mike, I know, focus, Russell, focus. Okay, anyway, the programming changes will be for certain shows. the Gary Russin Program Midweek Edition, the Gary Russin Program Saturday Extra, and the regular Gary Russin programs will either be on Podbean, GJRB2, or GJRB3, or on Castbox, GJRB4, GJRB5. Now, I can have this program on Castbox. I'll upload it after it's over. But this program, which I just started back up on the Spreaker, on my Spreaker platform, that program, all I got to do is go into the CMS on there and connect it with Castbox. And I can have all this show. This show can be available on Spotify, on Castbox, on Podchaser, and on Google Podcast, just like I do the Gary Russin Program Saturday Extra. All I have to do is connect those and get approval, and I'll be able to have this program already automatically on there. But for now, I'll just manually put this up after it's over. So that's how that works. But getting back to it, again, focus, Russin. As we're in the final hour here, and I want to get through this. GJRB 3, 4 and 5, Gary Russin Program. Way Out There has its own show page on Castbox. So does Radio, Television, and Movie Classics. Those are my two main shows for talk radio. And Sports Page, if I decide to put it back on, I don't know yet. Sports Page would be on GJRB's 2 and 3 on Podbean, and 4 and 5 on Castbox. And I don't know if I'll do a Sports Page channel on Castbox yet or not. It just depends on the reaction, because right now I've been kind of debating on let's put it this way. Sports Page has been teetering a little bit as to whether or not it's going to even exist, because I haven't been happy with sports lately. Basically because they're bowing down to the liberal left. And I haven't been too happy with the NFL, haven't been happy with the NBA, because they're bowing their sheep to the leftist agenda. And that's why I haven't been doing sports lately. Next week is the Olympics. I don't know. I might do Sports Page and cover it. I don't know yet. I might. It just depends on how that goes. So that's how it's going to go. It's a question mark in your Sports Page right now, whether it even exists. It'll be on GJRB's 2 and 3 or 4 and 5. 2 and 3 on Podbean, 4 or 5 on Castbox. Okay. Again, I will not simulcast on Spreaker or Podbean or Castbox from Zeno, because there's too much of a delay. I found that out Saturday when I was doing my Best of Jazz. It just did not sound right because it kept on repeating what I just said. And I thought, this isn't going to work. I can record it and put it up later, but I cannot do a live show simulcast on Spreaker unless I have the show on Zeno, straight on Zeno. In other words, I have the show straight on Zeno with the music playing on Zeno through my other players. But again, you're hearing me in the background if I start talking to myself about what I got coming up next. Because I do that, and it comes out over the air. So that's the reason why my mic is always open, and I don't like that. So that is the reason why I'm not doing that anymore, because there's too much of a delay and my mic is open. Radio, Television, and Movie Classics, that's on Castbox, GJRB Castbox. It's got its own channel. So that is mainly where you're going to hear that program, on Radio, Television, and Movie Classics on Castbox. So you'll hear it only on there. Okay, so those shows are moving from Spreaker. Now, I might still keep the title pages on Spreaker and take those shows and upload them as a recorded podcast here on Spreaker for people to listen here. But as far as live broadcast of that program on Spreaker, might happen once in a while. And it depends if I get listeners over here on that program. Because I've been doing radio, TV, movie classics on here for some time, and I haven't really got an audience. So I've been moving that show over. So radio, television, movie classics now is on Castbox. So you'll find it there. And I will post all these programs. Spontaneous right now. I've got a radio, television, movie classics coming up. Next week I'm going to be doing Way Out There and radio, television, and movie classics. I will post those links from those podcast platforms on all social sites so that you can see the program. It's going to be on the air. I will post them. I'm going to be on the air. When I get on the air, I will post them on the air so that you can come over and check the program out. Okay? Music shows will stay on Spreaker. All music shows. Okay? Good Times, Great Oldies Show, Music and Memories, Crooners, Swing Time. All those will stay on Spreaker. The reason I'm saying that is because one time I tried to do a music show on Podbean and almost got into trouble. So I'm not doing it there. But Spreaker hasn't really bothered me about my music shows too much. Thank you. And the reason is because I do play a lot of old music on there from the 1940s and 50s. And I go back further than that. I play old music. And I don't know, maybe a lot of those are public domain, especially some of the big band selections. But in the old radio shows too, I will stay on Spreaker. Because like I said before, I've been on the old radio sites that do the downloads of the old radio shows. And they've been saying public domain. On a lot of those. So I think a lot of those old radio shows are public domain on those sites, the old time radio programs. So I still continue to play those old radio shows because they are public domain. So I keep those on. Anyway, here's the cycle rotation for all these programs. Now, once again, the music shows will be on Spreaker and GJRB 24/7. With automated programming. We'll record the podcast for all the others platforms to be uploaded. Okay? But the music shows from Spreaker and GJRB 24/7 will all be on the 24/7 stream. Because a lot of them is emerging artists. A lot of them I play are in my emerging rotation. And so I will continue to be playing those as a part of the automated music anyway, on automated programming on the 24/7 stream. So just to let you know about that. Cycle rotation, GJRB 24/7, and another station I just mentioned before from Yahoo account on Zeno. That's going to be renamed WGJR Worldwide, and those two stations will take turns broadcasting. Okay? So if there is nothing on GJRB 24/7 stream and it's silent, go over to WGJR Worldwide and I'll post that later. Okay, so that you know that's where it's going to be. The webpage, majority of programs will be on the GJRB, on WGJR Worldwide. The webpage again, the majority of the programs will be Christian rock on WGJR Worldwide. WGJR Worldwide will be a Christian rock station. It will be Christian album-oriented rock. That's a format I made up. CAOR. It's a Christian rock, album rock format. Based on the old album rock radio formats, only it's Christian. Christian rock from Christian bands, and most of it emerging artists, and with a mix of some popular ones snuck in, and of course it'll be played here. Cycle rotation goes like this. Spreaker will be the main one, number one, Spreaker. Then GJRB2, GJRB3, GJRB4 and GJRB5, and Zeno.FM, GJRB 24/7, or GJRB Online 24/7, otherwise known as GJRB 24/7, and WGJR Worldwide. And it will cycle that again from bottom up. So we'll kind of go GJRB5, Spreaker, GJRB4, GJRB2. You know, each program will be taking turn. That's the cycle. Okay. One program airs on GJR Spreaker, then another one will air on GJRB2, another one will air on GJRB3, 4, 5, etc., and reverse order 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And we'll add this rotation to my title page on so that title page that I have on the computer under my documents, that's where I put the title on. And then I check mark that a program was on, the last episode was on, let's say for example, last episode was on Spreaker. Then the next episode will be on GJRB2 on Podbean. And when that's done, I check mark it and mark the date that aired. And then the next episode of that program will be on GJRB3 and so on. And then the next episode will be on Castbox 4 or Castbox 5. And then the rotation will go like that. 5, it will go back to 5 again for another episode. Go back to Spreaker for another episode, so on and so forth. It'll just be cycled that way. You know, but like I said, I'm practicing this. It's spontaneous, so you'll always see a posting before airtime on all these programs. Example will be tomorrow when I do the Summer Extra. I'll post an hour before airtime, and you'll know what time we'll be on the air live with that program. That'll probably be 3 o'clock though, Central Time, 3 o'clock Central Standard, Central Daylight. 3 o'clock Central Daylight, 4 Eastern, 1 Pacific tomorrow for that program. Now here's how it's going to go. I'm going to go to my blog on my website real quick. Let me see if I can do that on because if I do it on here, make my show skip. I'm going to put it up on my use my laptop for what it's for, and that's to put the internet up on there so that I don't have to do it here. So I'm going to go to my website. Okay, so I'm going to go to my Spreaker. Go to Globe. Now if you're on my Spreaker site, you'll see GJRB Online Networks, and right next to it there's a globe emblem. That globe, when you click it, it'll take me to my website. That means it's my website there. That's the globe. It says GaryJ655.wixsite.com/website. That's my website. The GJRB Online website. Really neat front page. It says GJRB Online Networks. It says Spreaker, GJRB 2 and 3, Podbean, 4 and 5, Castbox, and GJRB 24/7 on Zeno.FM. And pretty soon I'll add WGJR Worldwide. Then down the page there, you'll see all the stuff, and then you go to my blog. Now, usually what I'll do is I'll go in. There's no way to access my blog. I'm going to have to. Let me see. I don't think I have a thing for that, do I? Oh, no. I don't see. Let's go under more. Okay, so under more, I'm going to have to put my blog link in there so that I can easy access to my blog. So I'm going to have to do that. So meanwhile, I'm going to go into my favorites page and see if I can get in that way. Because I'm not sure where it's at. I don't think I have my blog on here. So I'll have to go into my internet here and go into history, and I'll pull that up. From yesterday, from last night. Should be really easy to pull that up. So you can find it. Then we'll take a break and wrap up this podcast. Because I'll be talking about one more thing, and that's my OBS Studio video version. That's coming up next. Let's see here. We're going to go to history. It should bring up my dashboard. Well, okay, here it is. Here it is. Okay, here it is. Spontaneous summer. Into my website, and I'll try to do login because I'm not out of the water anywhere, so you can go to it. Let me see if I can take it out. Man, it's slow today. Why is my internet so slow? I don't know why it's doing that. GJRB Online Network Spontaneous Summer. There it is. As soon as it finishes loading up. Meanwhile, let's talk about OBS Studio real quickly. Coming up, OBS Studio. We'll talk about the Gary Russell program on YouTube, the Gary Russell program combination Way Out There, and my Way Out There show. We're going to talk about that. Here it is. GJRB Online Network Spontaneous Summer. This is my blog I wrote yesterday on the GJRB website. And it has the rundown. This is what you'll hear when you hit the play button on the GJRB 24/7 stream widget. The last 7 days from yesterday, 7/08/2021. This program, the GJRB Schedule Update Podcast, and I'll upload these all in that order. So that when it plays, that's what will play. It will play in that order. You'll hear it this way. On other shows, get replays. Radio Hope with Mike Myers. That will be today's episode. Gospel Truth, Miles McKee, the most recent one. Ranger Bill, Unshackled, You Bet Your Life, Mr. Keen, founder of Lost Loves, an old radio shows. The Clinton Church of Christ services from last Sunday, June 27th. Because I do not have the July 4th one ready yet. I'm working in the process of getting that done and uploaded this weekend. I'll have that up, and that will be on the 24/7 stream for play as well when you hit that play button. Christian rock hits, and then programs to repeat through the next. These are the programs that will repeat for the next 24 hours. So again, I got that idea from that posting I have on my Facebook for the old radio, for the old TV shows. Okay, these are the programs that will repeat within the next 24 hours. The last 7 days, 7/08/2021. GJRB Schedule Update Podcast, which you're listening to right now. GJRB Music, main format, MOR. So good music there. Radio Hope with Mike Myers. Gospel Truth, Miles McKee. Ranger Bill, and the latest episode of Unshackled. You Bet Your Life, Mr. King, founder of Lost Loves. Clinton Church of Christ services, 6/27/2021. The Christian Rock Hits. Programs repeat for the next 24 hours with additional shows. Caramel Conservative with Ed Delgado from Tuesday night. Got to finish editing that. That will go up. I'll have that done today, and that will go up for play on here on GJRB 24/7. You should be hearing this on 24/7, so I'll say that. Caramel Conservative, the Saturday Summer Extra from Saturday will get uploaded on here after it's over on Spreaker. You'll only hear that show on Spreaker on Saturday. Here on Spreaker. That show will only be heard here on Spreaker Saturday. 3 o'clock Central Time, 4 Eastern, 1 Pacific. Special guest, my wife. Programs replay then in the next 24 hours, and you'll hear that whenever you hit the play button on the GJRB Green and White 24/7 Zeno stream widget. You hit that button on the Listen Live page here on the GJRB website, you will get those programs when you hit the button. Whatever's on when you hit the button, because remember, if there's no one else listening but you or me, If we stop listening, the playlist stops. But if we get more listeners, the playlist will keep going. So tune into those programs. If you miss them for any reason, because there's been some more people listening and the show is over and you missed it, you can still catch the podcast on the GJRB Spreaker public site at www.spreaker.com/user/5120525, on Castbox at castbox.com, GJRB Online, and on Podbean, and on the GJRB Zeno Streams podcast page. So the podcast will be there too for this program and all the other programs, including the church services. So you'll catch it either way. Okay, so if you miss it, you can listen to it on demand. Okay? Alrighty, so that's how that goes. Alright, so without being more confused, right? That's how it's going to work. Okay? That's how it's going to work. All the rotation of all the programs, GJRB 2, 3, 4, and 5. 2, 3 on Podbean, 4, 5 on Castbox, and simulcast with GJRB 24/7, with the main source being the podcast platform I'm broadcasting from. So if I were to, let's say, broadcast this show simulcast on the 24/7 stream, then it would be from here on the 24/7 stream. Okay? So that's how that's going to work. And I'll try to work that out as best I can. I'll keep on practicing it. You know, it just takes work. Okay? It just takes a lot of practice. Coming up next in our final part is going to be the OBS Studio. Talk about our video version of the Gary Russin programs and Way Out There. Okay, we're going to talk about that next. So stay tuned. That's next on the GJRB Online Networks. GJRB Online Networks. It's us. GJRB Online 24/7 stream. And, of course, coming soon, WGJR Worldwide. We'll be right back for the final part and conclusion next with the OBS Studio and the video version of the Gary Russin program after this break. Website, and you can visit it on Wix. This is a fabulous site, including photos of GJRB live events and live streaming of GJRB shows. The site changes every week, and I always try to put on new stuff. Check out any new photos on the new link on the upper right-hand side of the webpage, and see a great dedication to radio's 100th birthday, including interesting history of America's first radio station, KDKA in Pittsburgh. Watch for postings of coming broadcasts on GJRB on Spreaker, Podbean, and a possible 24/7 stream on Zeno.fm. Check out the GJRB websites on website.com, GaryRussin.website2.me, and now on Wix for live streaming at GaryJ655.wixsite.com/website. See the new neat stuff on all GJRB websites. Watch. Pray. For you not know what hour the Son of God will return. Prophecy. New World Order. Terrorism, economic collapse, wars, pandemics, Israel. When they say peace, then cometh sudden destruction. Volcanic eruptions, earthquakes, signs in the heavens. Keep up with world news and events you hear on GJRB's News on the Hour. Go to End Time Headlines at www.endtimeheadlines.org. With a lot of chaos happening, keep in touch with End Time Headlines and GJRB. America's Street Music is back on GJRB Bluegrass with the Grass Golds, Bill Monroe and his Bluegrass Boys, and so much more. So it's time to bring it back, and on more often. It's Bluegrass Jubilee Freestyle with all the great songs you heard before, and some new up-and-coming stars with some emerging bluegrass. Also, some all-time gospel favorites, too. Tune in every Wednesday at 12 o'clock noon Central, 1 p.m. Eastern, and 10 a.m. Pacific on the GJRB Online Network. Yes, pump it up, because Up and Coming is back on GJRB. New emerging artists in all genre, from rock to easy listening to cover songs. If you and your group would like to have your song on Up and Coming, send me an MP3 and an email to GaryJ65@yahoo.com or GaryJ021361@gmail.com. If your song is on any one of the emerging sites like SoundCloud, SoundClick, Reverb Nation, iTunes, or Spotify, let me know where it is, and I'll find it. I review songs every week, and if I like your song, it plays on GJRB and is added to the GJRB music rotation. So get your song on. Up and Coming, new emerging artist shows. Up and Coming returns in July with all new songs. Coming soon, all songs will be charted weekly with the Up and Coming Top 20. Tune in every Friday, 12 o'clock noon Central, 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific on GJRB 24/7. Remember when FM stations played the kind of music that was instrumental, soft, easy? It's back. Easy Nights with artists like 101 Strings, Montalbani, Raycon of Singers, to Frank Sinatra, Harry Connick Jr., and more. This is the beautiful sound that you heard on the FM radio 24/7. Wind down after a hard day's work and listen to music that used to occupy a number of spots on the early FM dial. In restaurants, in doctor's offices. Yes, it's music, but it's good. Easy Nights, Sunday with a worship version. Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday nights at 11 p.m. Central. Wednesday nights at midnight Central on GJRB. Oh yeah, you better believe we're going to be doing that with Easy Nights. I've got episodes coming up, and I love introducing some of the selections that are played on there too, because they got some real good ones, and there's a good mixture of popular songs played on there as well, and it's a great show. So I hope you'll tune in for Easy Nights, and I got a couple of episodes coming up. And of course, I was talking about that Up and Coming. I've got a new Up and Coming episode I'm working on right now. Some new music, and we'll be having that coming up. The Up and Coming's coming up here soon. The list of programs coming up on GJRB Online, I'll repeat this at the end of the show. Right now will be way out there next week. Radio, TV, and movie classics. That will be over on the GJRB Castbox. Way out radio, television, movie classics on Castbox. That'll be here on Castbox and here on Spreaker simultaneously. So you want to tune in for that show. It's going to be a good one. And then I've got that summer show on Saturday. And then the following week we're going to do Up and Coming and some more Easy Nights. So again, they'll be spontaneous, so you never know when they're going to be on. So watch for postings on the GJRB from GJRB. We'll be posting them an hour before airtime, a day or an hour before airtime, and the postings will be seen on Spreaker. I'll have a Spreaker preview, and that'll be posted on Facebook. It'll be posted on Twitter and MeWe, and on Parler as well as other sites. You'll hear also be available. Promotions also available on Pinterest, and I'll have it on every site I possibly can to get listeners. So be watching for that, okay? You never know when you're going to see it and when it'll be on. So just to let you know about that. About this program here, this program will be available pretty much for like the next couple weeks as these programs air, and then this program will go off after 2 weeks, and then I'll probably make another one. But as for now, this is the schedule as we see it. And if there's any changes, I'll have another GJRB Schedule update podcast done, so that you know when the next program is going to be. Okay? So those are the programs coming up, and I'll mention those again later on. Meanwhile, we're going to wrap up this show by talking about my laptop and another thing I have, OBS Studios. OBS Studios is fabulous. As a matter of fact, it works to keep with my Skype, and I can have a fake background, and I have a real nice some backgrounds on there I'm going to be using quite often, so that you don't see the bedroom here where I broadcast from. It's just so that you don't see the mess in the background. A real nice background, green screen, so that you don't see the mess here. And it's pretty cool. And you'll see all the stuff I air. It'll be visual. I'll have a visual version of the Gary Russell program like I used to on the old XSplit. And you'll see the all that. I got rid of XSplit on this computer because it was a resource hog. It just kept on, making the computer go slow, and it wasn't made for this computer to begin with, so I took it off. But I do have a fabulous OBS Studios that is on my Acer Aspire laptop, and that's where I'll be broadcasting from. I have a camera built into that, and I'll be able to do visual programs of the Gary Russell program, Way Out There show. Remember I used to do that? I have a couple of episodes I'll probably try to repeat on there to see how it's working and everything. I'm going to have that. That'll be pretty cool. I have a lot of shows I'm going to have on there, and I'll re-upload those. I'll probably just re-upload those on YouTube. Gary Russell program, Way Out There show, and a Way Out There show just for YouTube, where I'm going to play a lot of the weird videos, weird pictures, stuff like that. So it's going to be, it's visual anyhow. So is radio, television, movie classics for that matter. A lot of visual stuff that I like to show that I only play the audio versions of on my radio version of the radio, TV, movie classics. I'll be able to put some trivia questions up on the screen, and it'll be a fun video version of this program. Show some old clips of old TV shows. It'll be fabulous. You want to check that out. I'll let you know that's going to be another spontaneous thing because I'm going to be doing some experimentations with that. And it's going to be fabulous. So check out that. I still have to learn the video platforms right now. I have to watch the videos to see how I work a lot of that yet. I still aren't familiar with some of the things that it can do, so I've got to watch some videos on how that works. That includes another one that my friend Paul Reed showed me that I downloaded. It's called DaVinci Resolve, and it's a video editing platform, and it's pretty neat. And I'm going to be using that for making videos. And I might even, from time to time, be going on my bike downtown with my phone and shooting some video all over Clinton, the Mississippi River, up by the dike, and maybe over there riding my bike on the path over going to the Eagle Point Park here in Clinton, shooting some video of the river from that point. So it'd be kind of fun just to, show some video and be able to have that up. And but right now I have to learn all that. And right now I can't even get video and stuff off my phone. I don't know why. I must need to. And maybe anybody who's an expert on that could help me out. I plug my phone in to the computer and I'm not getting any envelopes off my phone. There's no way of seeing my phone's envelopes when I plug it in. I can't take stuff off my phone yet. So I got to try to figure out why. So I'll be dealing with that thing. But anyway, that's some of the things that I'm going to be doing on future programs. So I hope you check out that show. I hope you tune in to GJRB Online Networks. That's GJRB Online here on Spreaker, which is the main one. By the way, GJRB is celebrating 10 years next year. And I'm thinking about a 10-year anniversary show. Don't know when I'll do that yet. It's hard to say. I got to work on clips, some moments of GJRB from the early days all the way up to now, including the move from the studios over there to over here, different things like that, memories of past days of GJRB, and I'm going to be pulling out a lot of old clips, so that's going to be fun. It's an anniversary show coming up in 2022 of GJRB Online, probably around the end of 2022, because we started about November of 2012, so it'll mark 10 years in November of 2022. So I'll be, a year from now, I'll be preparing for that year-end 10-year anniversary show. So that'd be pretty fabulous. I'm looking forward to doing that. But anyway, if you have any questions, and if you're listening to this podcast, please leave it on my chat room on this program, which will be available here for another couple weeks. Just leave it there or send it to me in my email, GaryJ65@yahoo.com, GaryJ021361@gmail.com if you're confused about a lot of our program schedules and what we got planned. And I'll do another sequel podcast to this, so that if there's anybody who has questions, leave them here now, and I'll do another sequel and answer the questions as best I can. But this is how it's going to work. We're going to be spontaneous till the end of the year. Programs coming up on GJRB, podcasts coming up. Watch for postings for are tomorrow, the Gary Wrestling Program Saturday Summer Extra, Way Out There. That's coming up. We have Way Out There coming up next week. And radio, television, and movie classics on GJRB on CastBox. That's the radio, television, and movie classics. Way Out There will be on CastBox and simulcast here on GJRB Online, so check that out. Those podcasts will be available on the GJRB 24/7 stream as an off-air or off-schedule programming. Only available when you hit that play button, okay? So just remember that. Only available when you hit the play button. On schedule means that GJRB 24/7 is on the air, and all programs are on schedule using the devices tuned in to keep the broadcast going. So that's how that works. That's going to do it for the GJRB Schedule Update podcast. If I miss anything, I will have a sequel podcast on that on the feature episode edition of this program. So I hope you'll tune in. Remember, if you missed this on the GJRB 24/7 stream and it's run, it will be repeated within a 24-hour period, or you can just click on the podcast on the GJRB Spreaker page. Gary, that's www.spreaker.com/user/5120525, or the podcast will also be available on the Zeno podcast on my Zeno page. So just check that out. I will post that all right after this show is over. Thanks a lot for tuning in, and thanks a lot for listening to the GJRB Schedule Update Podcast. This has been a GJRB Schedule Update Podcast on GJRB Online Networks. I'm Gary J. Russin. Have a good day. This is the GJRB Online Network.